Hey everyone, and welcome to Tony For You. And I'm excited to present to you, explaining every contender for the throne of Bel in SMT Devil Survivor. The overarching story of Devil Survivor focuses on the competition between these characters, and their importance to the story cannot be overstated. That being said, does anyone know the lore and history between each of these important figures? That is something I hope to explain in this very video. We'll obviously be going into spoilers for the games, as I'll be talking about the bosses that appear throughout them, so play it if you haven't already. There will be timestamps to jump around through the video if you only want to hear about specific bells. But first, if you haven't played the game in a while, I'll give a quick refresher. In 2500 BC, a demon named Bel ruled the world, but come 600 BC, Yahweh, hallowed be his name, defeated him. Bel then broke into pieces, and these pieces became the Bel demons. Henceforth, the Bel demons fought against one another to obtain all of Bel's fragments, and recover his full power to become the next demon lord. With that out of the way, let's start with Abel, aka You. There's more to it than him just being the main character. He's also the reincarnation of biblical Abel. Abel appears in the book of Genesis along with his brother Cain. Cain and Abel were the sons of Adam. Cain, the firstborn, was a tiller of soil, and his brother Abel was a herder of sheep. Each brother made sacrifices to God, but Abel's sacrifices were favored far more. With every rejection Cain faced, his anger towards God grew, and the Lord spoke to him. "Why are you incensed, and why is your face fallen? For whether you offer well, or whether you do not, at the tent flap sin crouches, and for you is its longing, but you will rule over it." This is interpreted to be a warning that God's rejection is not due to Cain's offering being worse than Abel's, but Cain's soul being tainted by sin. Cain wasn't too great at interpreting though, so he thought the best course of action would be to lead his brother Abel into the forest and kill him. When he was next due for a meetup with God, the Lord asked him where Abel was. To which Cain responded, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Now, lying to God wasn't too great of an idea, so Cain was quickly found out and cursed to wander forever or until he died, which according to Google was when he was at the age of 730. So yeah, in very non-typical SMT fashion, you play as Abel, the completely innocent child. In the game though, after Cain's fratricide, Abel's soul developed a deep grudge of Cain and was cast down into the demon world to become a contender of Bel. Abel's essence was spread to many humans, but you were at the right place at the right time for a good old-fashioned competition to become the Demon Lord. Good luck. You'll need it. Beldr, of the Norse pantheon. Also known as Baldur, this god was the son of Frigg and Odin. Some, but not all of his well-known powers are fearlessness, enhanced charisma, enhanced intelligence, enhanced wisdom, invulnerability, manipulation of light, manipulation of love, precognition, and many more. Wow, what can this guy not do? Well, his invulnerability was only facilitated after he dreamed of his death one day. After telling his mother about it, Frigg went on a journey to make every single thing in the world vow not to hurt or aid in the hurting of Baldur. To which I guess all the inanimate objects silently agreed. After Baldur's newly acquired invulnerability, the gods would play games with him, those games being using him as target practice for their arrows and slings. Since every single thing in the world vowed never to hurt him, the projectiles never found purchase on the god. I wouldn't imagine this game would be very fun for him, but I guess he didn't really have a choice. One day though, Loki asked Frigg, "Is there really nothing in the world that could hurt your son?" To which Frigg responded, "All but one. I overlooked the small weed, mistletoe." Probably won't be a problem though, why are you asking? At that point, Loki had already promptly made a dart made out of mistletoe. Sounds pretty stupid in retrospect, but this was before everyone knew Loki was awful. Come the next time the other gods were using Baldur as target practice, Loki gave Baldur's brother, Hur, the dart, and with Loki's aim, the dart embedded itself in Baldur's chest, killing him. This event, many think, was the heralding of Ragnarok. Well, that explains why Baldur's soul is in hell. It even sheds some light on the devil's fuge, and Baldur's realization that the one that gave you this strange weed, which we now know as mistletoe, was Loki, dying once again indirectly by the hands of the trickster god. Unlucky. Belial, of Hebrew and Christian texts, is a word used to characterize the wicked and worthless. Lacking worth or never to rise are just a few interpretations from the etymology of the word. Over time, however, Belial was used as the personification of wickedness itself. In The War of the Sons of Light Against the Sons of Darkness, one of the Dead Sea Scrolls, it reads,
You made Belial for the pit, angel of hatred. In darkness is his domain. His counsel is to bring about wickedness and guilt. All the spirits of his lot are angels of destruction. They walk in the laws of darkness. Towards it goes their only desire.
In the Ascension of Isaiah, it states, And Manasseh turned aside his heart to serve Belial, for the angel of lawlessness, who is the ruler of this world, is Belial. In the Lesser Key of Solomon, he is described as a direct servant or partner of the devil himself, one of the 4 crowned princes of hell. His lot is to distribute preferments of senatorship and favors to friends or foes. Those who summon Belial into the world must offer gifts or sacrifices, or he will not truly answer to their demands. Even if placated, however, Belial will not spend more than 1 hour on the truth, unless constrained by divine power or his seal. Whether Belial was a description of those without worth, lord of the pit, ruler of the world, or the devil himself, depends on which source you read from. For SMT, most of the demons derive their lore from the Ars Goetia, or the Lesser Key of Solomon. So I'll take that to be his canon depiction. About as evil gets, and worse yet, he's hell's bureaucrat, assigning demons their task in life. Imagine a government-run facility in hell. Truly evil. Jezebel, in Abrahamic texts, was the daughter of Ethelbal of Tyre and wife of Ahab, king of Israel. As written in the Book of Kings of the Hebrew Bible, Jezebel, along with her husband, instituted the worship of Baal and Asherah on a national scale. They even went so far as to violently purge the prophets of Yahweh from Israel. Jezebel, upon her coronation, built temples dedicated to Baal and Asherah, as well as used royal provisions to fund 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of Asherah during a severe famine. As that was happening, altars and shrines dedicated to Yahweh were torn down and desecrated. Prophets of Yahweh were culled until only 100 survived, and even then, they only survived as there was a pro-Yahwist sympathizer in Ahab's court. There was a great rift in the Israelite community for the worship of Baal and Yahweh. Elijah, a devout Yahwist, challenged the prophets of Baal and Asherah to the challenge of Mount Carmel. That challenge being to see which god would burn a bull sacrifice on an altar at the apex of the mountain. Despite their crying and cutting themselves, Baal did not burn their sacrifice. Yahweh, however, answered their prayers and set the bull alight. When the challenge was complete, the prophets of Baal and Asherah were seized and killed, which angered Jezebel and forced Elijah to flee for his life as the last Yahwist worshipper left. Ahab's son, Joram, eventually succeeded the throne for the northern kingdom of Israel, and Elijah, after some time, had a successor known as Elisha. Elisha then commanded one of his disciples to anoint Jehu, commander of Joram's army, as the true king, and to be a divine agent of punishment against Jezebel. Jehu quickly dispatched of Joram and came for Jezebel's life. As her final act, she put on makeup and a formal wig with all of her royal adornments taunting him. Jezebel died after being thrown out of the window by her own servants as commanded by Jehu. Her body was then trampled by horses and eaten by dogs, thus ending the house of Ahab. Due to her actions in the Book of Revelations, the Christian text foretelling the apocalypse, Jezebel is symbolically associated with false prophets. As a false prophet herself, it's fitting in the game that she has the ability to bend people's very souls to her whim, possibly the worst of the demons if she ever got her hands on the throne of Bel. Belzaboul, or more commonly, Beelzebub, a Philistine god worshipped in Canaan and later adopted by Abrahamic religions. Beelzebub, lord of the flies, was originally Baal, which means lord or owner, but most commonly refers to the god Hadad, god of weather, agriculture, and fertility. Baal was decried as a false god by the ancient Israelites, and the original translation to Belzebub can be sourced back to the Book of Kings, referring to Belzebub as god of Ekron, Ekron being a Philistine stronghold. Many people believe the god of Ekron's name to have originally been Belzaboul, or Lord of the Heavenly Dwelling, and Beelzebub, meaning Lord of the Flies, to be a derogatory pun used by the neighboring Israelites. In the Testament of Solomon, Belzaboul, the original spelling, appears as the Prince of Demons, and it states that he was formerly a leading heavenly angel who was associated with the planet Venus, or the morning star. With this text implies that Belzaboul is synonymous with Lucifer himself, as they are both associated with the morning star. In the Lesser Key of Solomon, Beelzebub is placed high in Hell's hierarchy, and is said to have been one of the 3 fallen angels alongside Lucifer and Leviathan. Second in command to Lucifer, chief lieutenant of the demons of Hell and founder of the Order of the Fly, a major court of demons in Hell. Attributed to pride, gluttony, and the worship of false gods, Beelzebub is often the demon cited most in the Salem witch trials through possession and sowing the seeds of chaos. A fall from grace if Hadad was transformed into the second in command to Satan. Perhaps Hadad was the true name of the fallen angel from heaven, or perhaps it was simply the Israelites' way of decrying Belzaboul as a false god. Regardless, Beelzebub is now irrevocably tied with Hell, and being Satan's mostly loyal lieutenant. He is also linked with the next Bel we're going to be talking about, which is Belberith, who may or may not be identical to Beelzaboul. That's not to say this Bel has no history though, just a small amount, so I'll keep things brief. Belberith was the patron god of the Canaanite city of Shechem, and dubbed God of the Covenant. Actually, that title belongs to 2 gods, Belberith and Elberith, but is often referred to as one, so I'll continue to do that as well. In the biblical book Judges is the only mention of Belberith, in which his temple was destroyed after the king, Abimelech, quelled the rebellion of his subjects. In rabbinic literature, after the death of Gideon, a famous military leader, judge, and prophet to the Israelites was worshipped as an idol in the shape of a fly, identical to Beelzebub, lord of the flies. There are some that compare Belberith to Berith, listed in the Lesser Key of Solomon as a great duke of hell, also a fallen angel from heaven and master of ceremonies notarizing pacts with the devil. With this, his title of Lord of the Covenant makes more sense. Perhaps Belberith is an aspect of Beelzebub, or a separate entity entirely. Beelzebub's actions in the game make a lot more sense if they are one and the same, but it's all just speculation from my research. Lastly, the final boss, Babel. Babel is less of a demon in the lore and more of a, well, tower. According to the book of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible, a united human race in generations following the Great Flood spoke a single language. Moving eastward, they decided to build the city of Babel, and within, construct a tower so grand it would connect the earth with the heavens. Seeing this, God shatters their speech so they can no longer communicate with each other, and scatters them throughout the world. Thus, the biblical explanation for multiple languages. Interpretations of this story are mixed, to say the least. First-century Jewish interpretations explain the construction of the tower as a hubristic act of defiance against God. Other explanations emphasize this act not as a punishment, but the origin of cultural differences, describing Babel as the cradle of civilization. It is also said that there is a tablet containing the world's first unified language, but translation is impossible, even by the world's most skilled linguists. This sentient tower is the final challenge you must face in the game, and acts as your last gate before ascending the throne and becoming the Lord of Bel. Having inherited the largest portion of the original King of Bel's power, he has the ability to summon all the spirits of the Bels you absorbed previously. His signature ability, Calamity of Babel, does massive damage to every party and inflicts mute, which is in reference to God's punishment of the Babylonian people. Babel's form changes depending on the chosen route of the game, symbolic of your motives for ascending the throne of Bel. Whichever ending you choose, you've earned it after this fight. That ends the Bel Roundup. This video was a doozy to make, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. I certainly did researching for this video. Leave a comment letting me know your favorite Bel, and while you're down there, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd say mine was Jezebel. Her part was the most interesting to do research for, and she was by far my most hated boss during my first playthrough. Abrahamic demons have a ton of small depictions, which makes it hard to congregate information succinctly, but I think this video should give you a better understanding of each of them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Tony For You. Have a good one.